Yes!
Gambit Prime, or GP as I like to call it, is the game mode often referred to as the more competitive version of Gambit. The concept of Gambit Prime being competitive could be subjective, but that's probably a different story for a different day. Anyways, before I get into things, I would highly suggest you watch my video titled What is Gambit if you're a new light player or a returning player or somebody who has no idea what Gambit or Gambit Prime is at all. Think of this video as a follow-up to that one because I'll be explaining things that only make sense to those who watched the previous video and or those who already know what the Gambit game mode is. So, without further ado, let's get it in. Gambit Prime has a lot of the same dynamics as regular Gambit, but the most discernible differences exist in the form of a few different things. Gambit Prime is limited to a single round, whereas regular Gambit has the possibility of going to 3 rounds. Gambit Prime also has 4 different armor rolls. That's rolls spelled R-O-L-E-S. Not R-O-L-L-S, which will be explained in depth later, and Gambit also requires both teams to bank 100 motes to summon a Primeval, instead of regular Gambit's requirement of 75, and the Primeval boss is also dramatically different here. Also, Kel's Grave and Cathedral Scars are not available maps in Gambit Prime if that's also of any relevancy. Now, even though there aren't many differences between regular Gambit and Gambit Prime, I use the word discernible for a reason. First off, due to the fact that Gambit Prime is limited to 1 round, that leaves little to no room for error and 0 second chances. So if you lose, you lose. Regular Gambit, on the other hand, gives you a fair bit of leeway because if you win a round and lose a round, doesn't really make a difference what order it is. You end up taking the game to round 3, which is the tiebreaker round. The Gambit Prime armor R-O-L-E-S that we spoke of previously come in 4 different flavors. There's the Invader set, the Reaper set, the Sentry, and the Collector. Invaders will invade, Reapers are built for ad clear, Sentries are moat bank protectors, and Collectors are professional moat hoarders. You'll only gain the abilities of these 4 different armor roles by partaking in the Reckoning game mode, which is a spin on the run-of-the-mill survival/horde mode present in other shooter games. Now, I don't want to immerse into the how-tos of the Reckoning because, well, you can easily watch my video titled What is the Reckoning, which will be provided in the description box in the form of a link. Go ahead and watch that one when you're done with this one. But yeah, each individual armor role receives different perks to facilitate the job of the Guardian that has that particular armor equipped. For example, the Invader armor grants a perk that locks the enemy moat bank down during invasions, and the only way to unlock the bank is for the Invader wearing the Invader armor to be defeated or until the 30 seconds to invade concludes. One of the perks on the Collector set allows you to carry up to 20 motes, enabling you to send a giant blocker to the enemy side. Giant blockers have a lot more health than large blockers and possess the ability to suppress enemy guardians. So it'll usually be bad news for any enemy guardian that casts a super near a giant blocker. Now, if you want to get the fully fledged Gambit Prime experience, I would highly suggest familiarizing yourself with the Reckoning and grinding an armor set to your liking or all 4. Gambit Prime is meant to be played using the armor sets, but it's by no means mandatory. When I was going for the Reckoner title, I owned all 4 armor sets and switched between each role depending on the situation, but going into Shadowkeep, I dismantled them all and realized that I played just fine without them. But be advised that those who invest time into obtaining these armor sets will have a noticeable advantage and will be an incredible asset for their team. Oh yeah, despite the fact that the Gambit Prime armor sets are Armor 2.0, you can't change their appearance with universal ornaments. And this makes a lot of sense because I'm pretty sure it's because it would be too difficult to distinguish the armor if it was disguised as something else. One of the most interesting things about Gambit Prime is the ability to drain motes from the enemy bank. So basically, if your team banks 25 motes and the blockers are still alive, motes will be siphoned from the opposing mote bank into yours. It takes roughly a full second for 1 mote to be drained, so if you're able to completely overwhelm the enemy team with blockers, you can literally drain their mote bank dry. This is one of the attributes that makes Gambit Prime more quote-unquote competitive than regular Gambit. So if you don't have somebody on blocker patrol, it's very easy to find yourself swarmed by a sea of blockers. Now, in regards to the Primeval boss fight, this is the biggest difference between Gambit and Gambit Prime. In regular Gambit, you bank 75 motes, the Primeval spawns accompanied by 2 Primeval envoys with void shields, you kill them, kill the Primeval, and win the round. Simple stuff. But in Gambit Prime, the Primeval is protected by a shield that won't disappear until 3 different Primeval envoys accompanied by various red bar taken enemies are killed. Each one of these envoys has a shield of each of the 3 elements, so there's one with a void shield, one with an arc shield, and one with a solar shield. Kill them all and you'll have about 20 something seconds to damage the Primeval, but if you really want to accomplish anything, you'll stand inside the Well of Light. Every time you start a new Primeval damage phase, you'll be given 1 extra stack of Primeval Slayer. And just like in regular Gambit, more stacks enables you to deal more damage to the Primeval. Team composition is very important when it comes to taking down the Primeval in Gambit Prime, because if your DPS options are limited, the enemy team can easily catch up and summon their own Primeval. If you aren't dealing at least 1/4 the damage of the Primeval's health meter, you're doing something terribly wrong. Just saying. Oh yeah, one more thing. When you're clearing out ads that generate motes, you'll quickly find out that Gambit Prime's AI is equally as annoying as regular Gambit's AI. One of the main annoyances here is the fact that Gambit Prime throws a lot of yellow bar enemies at you, and a decent amount of them are significantly bigger, stronger, and have a lot more health than your occasional major enemy. This isn't something that I really have to get into depth with because it's definitely something that won't take you too long to realize. Alright everybody, that does it for the Gambit Prime guide. I hope that this video was informative. If it was, and if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor and thumb wrestle that like button until it turns blue. And if you're new to my neck of the woods, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon so you don't ever miss a video of the most elite gaming content. But with that being stated, 1LHD is over and out. Y'all take it easy.